soy el fuego que...
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to your Real Estate Sensei Show. Today, we have Daniel Montecelo as our guest. He is with BP. He's the BP of Bankers Title and Escrow. He's been in real estate industry since 1999. Let's welcome Daniel. Daniel, we are so excited. I'm very happy to have you. Welcome to my show. Um, Tell us about Daniel. Who is Daniel
Hi,
and your story?
thank you, Sandra. It's a pleasure to be on this show with you. Thank you so much for bringing me on. Um, so, who is Daniel Montecelo? Daniel Montecelo is a kind-hearted person that has been in the real estate business since 1999. I'm a second-generation Cuban American. My parents came to Florida in the late 1950s, and they started their family here, and moving forward, I was born in January 24th, 1980. I come from a music background, so my father was a drummer growing up, and I remember being a little kid watching him play drums. And for those that don't know, I am a professional musician. I have a big band in the state of Florida, and we travel all over the place. Sometimes we play. I'm a drummer, a percussionist, so music is a big part of my life and is a passion. But I did get into the real estate business back in 1999 because my mom, growing up, used to own a title company. So I remember from a young age, from about the age of like 13 and 14 on the summers, I would go work with my mom and I would help her with the paperwork. I would help her facilitate the clients when they would come in to do the closings. I would make cafecito for the clients, whatever they needed that I could handle. I would help my mom, and it was an amazing thing because I fell in love with real estate at such a young age. And by the time I was graduating high school, other than studying music, which I did, I was set on getting into the real estate business and trying to follow in my mom's footsteps. And I have a big love. Instead of doing title, I did get into the mortgage business at first. So I did mortgages for about 5 years, from about 99 to about 2004. And then in 2004, my mom had introduced me to one of my mentors, which are some attorneys by the name of Hobel, Florido, and Renee, Cotto. And they kind of took me under their wing. And I just didn't learn title, but I was able to learn everything about real estate law. So anything that had to do with estates, wills, probate, foreclosure defense. I even got to dabble a little bit in family law. And they were a big title agency as well. So I worked under them for about, I would say, about 8 to 9 years. And in 2010, I connected with my partner, Jorge Safont, and we originated the company Bankers Title. And the reason we came up with the name Bankers Title and Escrow Services is that at the time, a majority of our clients were mortgage brokers and BOA and country, at the time Countrywide when it existed. And so we were more known to work directly with the lenders back in the refi boom and stuff like that. And then as time has changed, after the market crashed, we got into the business when the market was at its worst. So the market crashed in 2007, 2008. We opened the company in 2009. Everybody thought that we were crazy, but it ended up working out because we came into the business at a time when everybody was getting out of it, and we got into it, and it was rough at the beginning. The first year we struggled. It was hard to keep people on board because we weren't. It was really hard to bring in business. But once 2011 started to come in, the market started to pick up. We were fortunate enough to make some investor real estate clients that were doing a lot of buying in Broward and Miami-Dade. And through them, they were able to lift up our company. And then we made relationships with new realtors. And come now, 2021, we have offices throughout the state of Florida. Our main corporate office is in Miami Lakes. We have offices in Pembroke Pines and Westin, Homestead, the Keys. Now we have Naples, we have Fort Myers. So we're blessed. We've been working really hard. One of our, we're known to be a boutique style title service company. So when it comes to servicing the client, going on and beyond. So thank you for asking, and that's where we're at, my friend.
So we are very excited that you opened your office in Naples. I actually visit your office and it awesome. I love it. It has good flair, and I was very excited to meet you. And I'm looking forward to work with your company in
Same here.
Naples
Yes,
and Fort Myers. And I know you're expanding, so it's all about expanding our business all around.
correct. I agree 100%. Expansion is everything.
Yeah, you're cutting off a little bit. Are you? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. I lost connection there.
Oh, perfect. So we know that have people can get a hold with you. If you can say your email. I didn't have your email. I should have put your email under, but I know that the Bankers Title and Escrow and is there the offices where they are located. Danielle, if you want to give them your phone number and your website, that will be great. We can do it at the end of the interview. So one of the most mysterious parts about the home buying and selling process is the title. Can you give us a little overview on how it works? You're muted. I think we lost him. Hopefully he will be back. We always have this problem when someone is in the car. It's a little difficult to get the full connection. Let's see. Hopefully he's coming back. He's going to talk to us about title, how important is the title when you purchase a property. We're going to give him some few moments for him to come back. I think he's coming back.
Are we good?
Yes, we're good now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
So back to what I was saying in regards to the title process. So, as a title agency, we play a very big role in accommodating the transaction. And one of the main things we do is that we are in charge of searching the record of the property at the time that you go under contract to see what's on that property. So, for example, if you're a buyer and you're putting a contract and you want to buy this property and you want the ownership of the property to be transferred to you the day of closing, we have to assure that when we transfer that title to you, that it's clear of any liens, judgments, mortgages, or anything. So, for example, the seller that you're buying the property from, they may have a mortgage on the property or they may have a second mortgage. When I do my title search and I prepare my report is going to tell me in order for me to transfer this property over to this new owner, I need to make sure that this mortgage gets paid off. If there's a lien, a judgment, an open work permit, whatever could show up on the property, my job is to make sure that those things get resolved prior to getting to the closing table. So when I transfer the ownership of the property to the new buyer, that it's free and clear of any liens, judgments, and that what we consider what we call marketable title. So when I transfer the title over to you, it's going to be marketable. So my job is basically to do the legal aspect of the transaction and make sure that when I transfer the property over to you, that the property is clean and that you won't have any issues in the future with any judgments, liens, or any mortgages that could have never been paid off. My job would be to make sure that that's free and clear for the buyer.
So once the title company issue the title insurance to a new buyer, that means it's clear.
Correct. So at the time, well, title insurance also is a different aspect of what you get with the title company. So that's just one part of the job that we do. The second part that we do is we give you title insurance. Now, everybody gets confused with what is title insurance. Title insurance is actually very important in the state of Florida because what title insurance does is that it protects you of any imperfections that the title policy could have later in the future. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say that we have a transaction that we're working on together. I do a title search, and on my title search, it doesn't show that the seller has a mortgage for $100,000 on the property, right? It doesn't show up on my report. So my report is telling me that the file is free and clear, and that there's no mortgages on the property. So we close under the conditions that the report said that there's not a mortgage against the property. So we close, everything is fine, title assurance is issued. Let's just say 2 years from now, after you close on your property, somebody comes knocking on your door and says, hey, listen, you bought this property 2 years ago, and there's a mortgage for $100,000 that wasn't paid off, and I need that to be paid off because that's owed to my mortgage company, right? So assuming that were to happen, that's when title insurance kicks in, and the title insurance would pay off that mortgage that wasn't caught at the time of closing, so it doesn't fall on the person that owns the property, and in essence continuing to keep the title free and clear and what we consider marketable title.
Great. That's so important. Today, there is so many sellers that they're trying to sell their homes without the representation of a selling agent, and they think they know all. But it's so important to work with a title company that they will explain them all that process, and their
I
agent that will help them also guide them through the process.
Oh, I definitely agree. You need to have a title agent to represent you in any type of transaction, whether you're the buyer or you're the seller. There's just a lot of things that go into closing on a property, especially in the state of Florida. We've in 2008 we dealt with a lot of foreclosed properties that were foreclosed, people that took out one, two, or three mortgages on a property, and there's still properties until today that are still in a hole that may still have these things dragging with the property. And if you're not working with a good title agent that knows what they're doing, you may end up buying a property that has issues. So definitely having a good title agent that knows what they're doing, that's going to represent you at the highest level, to me is one of the most important factors in the real estate business. You need to have a trustworthy title agent that's going to do a good job for you and make sure that when you do purchase a property or sell a property, that everything is being done correctly, so you don't run into any issues later on in the future. Another thing to bring up, in the state of Florida, unfortunately, we're number one in fraud in a lot of things. We're number one in fraud in deeds. A lot of times people are there. There's people constantly focused on looking for people that have their properties paid off, and they'll go and they'll get the deed and they'll sign off and get a fake notary and then make it seem like you sold the property to them when you really didn't. Title insurance would also kick in those type of fraudulent situations and protect you as well. So it's very important to have title insurance and to have a title agent represent you, because there's just so much stuff that happens in the state of Florida. And I think that's where we come in and we put the seal on it and just give you that faith and give you some peace of mind that when you do close on the transaction, that everything is going to be 100% ready to go for you guys. So
That's collaboration. I have many sellers, I'm sorry, many buyers that when they pay cash, they don't want full title insurance. What would you say to those
I
buyers?
would I would say that that's a huge risk that you're taking to save a few $100. In essence, a seller that's selling a property in cash, for example, if you're buying, the settlement fee would probably be less than $600 to have a full representation, to have peace of mind. Why wouldn't you do that? What happens if you do close and you're a cash deal and you didn't get a title agent, you didn't get title insurance, and then 2 years from now that situation happens, a mortgage pops up for $100,000 that's owed. Now you don't have title insurance and you don't have nothing. Guess what? You're going to be on the hook for the $100,000. So saving the $600 is going to end up costing you $100,000 down the line. Could it happen? Of course. Again, I've been in the business since 1999, and I've seen it happen plenty of times. So I think, always being represented to the fullest and making sure that when you are going to purchase a real estate property, especially when you're talking about you're dealing with a lot of money, it's worth having the representation, is worth making sure that it gets done right. So later in the future, you don't have to deal with the headaches.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, how important is the conversation or the relationship between the real estate agent and the title company during the process of a closing?
I think it's probably the most crucial part of the transaction. My opinion is that as a title agency, as an owner of a title company, the title company plays a very big important role in the transaction, and I'll explain to you why. We're the middle person for everybody, right? So when you're dealing in a real estate transaction and you're under contract, I have to deal with the buyer's agent, I have to deal with the buyer, I have to deal with the seller's agent, I have to deal with the seller, I have to deal with the lender that's giving the loan to the buyer that's going to buy the house. I have to deal with the attorney that's representing the seller. In other words, nothing happens if you're not communicating with us, the title company, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to clear title, and we got to get this file to the closing table. So if you have a title company that you're working with that's not a good communicator, that doesn't have a good system in place, doesn't have a good operation, doesn't have good processors, good closers, good funders, you're gonna have some really big time headaches. And I'm sure you've been in the business for a long time, and we've dealt with good and we've dealt with bad title companies. There's a big difference when you have a good title company representing you and a bad title company. A bad title company can many times put you in a situation to even lose your transaction, and I've seen it happen plenty of times. They forget to order an estoppel. They didn't send out the escrow letter on time. They waited. They didn't order the lien letters from the county, and then closing day comes and they're still missing conditions, and now they're going to delay the closing. So if the title company drops the ball or makes a mistake, it can ruin your transaction, or it can make it fall behind. You won't close on time. Sometimes we may put yourself in a position where the seller may want to back out of the contract. So I believe that we play a very important role, which is why service and communication in this business for me is number one. Without that, you're not going to be very successful. And I really do believe that the title company plays a really big role in keeping the transaction together and keeping sometimes you got fussy people on each side, right? Not everybody does business the same. So you also need to have a certain type of personality to be able to get along with all types of people and personalities, and be able to be the middleman that keeps everything together and gets it to the closing table. And I think that that's where at least our company is at our best. We facilitate everybody 1,000%. We treat everybody like family. We treat them like gold. We make you feel like you're at home, and we make it as smooth as possible. And we get our files to the closing tables, and it's typically a smooth closing. And so I think that when it comes to facilitating all sides, that's where having a good title company comes into play.
I think that's very important to have that relationship and communication between title companies, the agents, sellers, and buyers. Very important.
Yes, I agree.
So, what would you say? Every day we have new agents. What would you recommend to these new agents? As a real estate agent, I'm a paralegal, so I know and I how to read a title commitment. What would you recommend to the new agents that they start their business and they do not know anything about all that to help their clients the best way?
I would say to new agents that have been in this business for less than 2 to 3 years, I would say that you need to surround yourself with people that have been in this business for a long time, people that do business ethically, people that do things right. Almost find yourself what I would consider a mentor, somebody that can teach you the in and outs. And when you're a realtor, I feel that it's not just doing your job as a realtor. You need to know how to do everybody's job. So I'm not saying that you need to be a title agent, but I am saying that you need to understand what a title agent does. You need to understand what a loan officer does. You need to at least have some type of, como se dice, conocimiento of the entire process, and know what you have to do, know what the listing agent. The more that you educate yourself, which is why I'm a big fan of NARUP, but education in this business is everything. If you're not educating yourself every day, you're not going to succeed, because we are in a very competitive market right now. As you know, there's like 80,000 realtors in the state of Florida. So you're competing against a lot of people, and there's some people that are new that don't do it much, but there are a lot of people that are doing this full time, and they work 16 hours a day. They're constantly educating themselves. They're getting in front of people all the time. So I would say for the newer agents, become a part of an organization that's going to bring value to you, that's going to bring education, that's going to constantly be teaching you all the new things that are coming around, so that you can have all the tools that you need to be successful. But I still think that education is still the biggest thing for new realtors. Find a good organization that has a good platform to educate realtors that bring you value. I think the biggest mistake that some realtors make is that they get their license, and they go on the streets and they try to do things on their own. They don't ask for help. They don't team up with people that have been doing it for a long time, and they end up having a lot of like bad. They end up creating bad habits, right? Habits that eventually put you in a bad position or make you lose deals or doesn't help you get under contract. So being with people that have been in the business for a long time, that do it right, that are ethical, that work hard, that have a good personality, that treat people right, I think is key. So if you were to ask me, I would say hard work, having a good routine, having an education platform, having maybe surround yourself with five people that are much smarter than you and know a lot more of what you're doing. I was always taught that if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
You need to be the dumbest person in the room, right? You always need to be learning. So I've done very good at putting myself in that position. I always want to be in the room. I want to be the dumbest guy. I don't want to be the smartest guy because I always want to learn something new. And being in the business for 20 plus years, I can tell you this for a fact. Every single day of my life, I learned something new in this business. So as long as you're not a know-it-all and you're humble and you work hard, you have a good routine, you surround yourself by the right people, and you educate yourself on a daily basis, I think you're gonna do just fine in this business.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Thank you very much for that tip for the new agents. I know you mentioned NAREP. Tell me a little bit. I'm a board director of NAREP, but I want to hear from you. What NAREP, or tell me first the mission of
Not
NAREP, and then tell me a little bit about NAREP.
NARUP. So I've been a part of NARUP since 2015. I originally started in the South Florida chapter as just a regular member and attending the events. I had a lot of realtor friends that were on the board in South Florida. So little by little, I started to get into it. But NARUP has changed my life in many ways. Just even my health, just going, even working out every day. What NARUP represents is that our job with NARUP is to help improve Hispanic home ownership, right? That's the biggest mission that NARUP has. But NARUP brings so much more to the table than just helping Latinos with improving home ownership entre Latinos. It brings an education platform. NARUP works with some of the biggest real estate people in the nation. They go on and beyond to put you in front of the top of the line people at all given times. They're constantly doing amazing events. They do educational events. Most of the knowledge that I have gained on the real estate side that I have applied to my business has come from NARUP. Just being able to be in front of the CEO, for example, not because of COVID, but the last year that we did San Diego, when I went to San Diego, we got to talk to the CEOs of Wells Fargo, BOA. They talk about things that are going on that we would never know if we weren't a part of NARUP. So, in regards to bringing value, education, uh, becoming a part of a family, going about the situation like I told you, surrounding yourself with mentors and people that are just at way above you at a whole other level. Those are the type of people that you need to surround yourself with. And I think NARUP, which represents the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, is by far the number one real estate organization in the nation in regards to bringing values not just to Latinos, but bringing value to Latino, all real estate professionals, all types of all people, not just Latinos. There's all types of people that are a part of NARUP that sit on the board that do big things. So NARUP just doesn't help Latinos; it helps all real estate professionals. And I've been a part of a lot of different real estate organizations, and I can tell you that NARUP by far is the number one organization, in my opinion, in the entire nation. The value that they bring you, the amount of education that you get, the friendships that you build, the networking that you get to do. As a title company, I can tell you that at least 40% of my business comes from NARUP. So that within itself is huge for a business owner like me. And I feel that when you become a part of that association is like you become a part of a family. And having a big family is always a good thing. So I give a lot of my success to NARUP. I would definitely implore anybody that's on this interview today and watching our interview to please check out the NARUP chapter and definitely become a part of it. It's extremely cheap to be a member. I think it's only $49 for the year. To be a member, you get to partake in about 4 to 5 events a year. You get to go to networking events. You get to go to educational events. Um, I can't speak. I mean, I can go on for hours and hours and give you all the pros. There's no cons. I can guarantee you this. There's absolutely no cons with NARUP. I implore everybody to become a member of a chapter in your area and just try it out. For $49 is worth the investment. And I can guarantee you that if you stick to it and you listen and you educate yourself through the NARUP platform, you're going to be an amazing realtor or real estate professional. I can guarantee you that.
I agree with you, Daniel. It changed my life as well. I have been part of NAREP since 2016 as a member, and I didn't focus as much as I did 2019 when I decided to be part of the committee and then become a member. If you don't see the value that you can get from NAREP, which I call mi familia, it's for $49, like you said. It's nothing. You
I
get
mean,
education.
we spend 50. We can spend $50 right now just having lunch, doing nothing. You can invest that into your future. And again, I sat on a board. I sat on the West Broward board, and I was the vice president for the board for 2 years. I established that board from scratch, which was that within itself was a whole other experience on how to put a board together. It's taught me how to put events together. It's taught me how to talk to people. Um, Motivational speaking. They show you how to take your fear, how to speak in front of masses. I have learned so much from NARUP. That is not. I've learned things from NARUP that don't even have anything to do with real estate. So I mean, that's how good NARUP is. It brings so many different fundamentals to the table, and I consider NARUP. That to me is my familia, and I will be a part of NARUP until the day I die because I just think that the value that it brings, not just to me but to the people around me, anybody that I've ever brought onto NARUP, that have become a part of it and have stuck to it, they've all succeeded, and they're all at a much higher level now than they were 5 years ago. So I still haven't seen anybody that's become a part of this organization that hasn't grown and hasn't become successful from being a part of it. That's a fact.
That is, yes, that is a fact. And I'm very happy that August is coming and finally we're going to have the live events and in-person events, which it's really, it is a need to
Yeah.
have.
Well, you know what? After this whole COVID situation and everything that we've gone through on a worldwide level, but just here on a local level, I think that there's always pros and cons to everything. I think the one thing that we have that sometimes we take for granted is being able to be together with our work family or with our family and just being able to go to a networking event that sometimes people are like, I don't want to show up to that. It's not worth it. But after a year and a half of not being able to do that, I feel like we all appreciate now what these events bring to the table and how it brings people together and how we learn from each other and we feed off of each other. So I'm so excited to be a part of your event on August 6th. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to be supporting you in your chapter, and I'm just glad to see that things are
I think I lost you in voice.
I should be back. Hello, am I back? Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
So yeah, so I think it's just I'm super excited to see that things are going back to normal and that events are NARUP is starting to do events again, and I'm definitely looking forward to your event on August 6th.
Great. Thank you very much to actually being in the show. It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to have you in all the events that we're going to have. And
Yes.
I know that we have in one workshop, um, first time home buyers coming this Wednesday. So I
And
will
I will be there helping you out as well with that one, my friend.
thank you very much and have, I know Father's Day is coming. So for all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day for Sunday. Have your day. Do not
Yes.
put the phone for work. Work the fathers.
I like that. That's awesome, Sandra.
Okay, take care.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers on here. Sandra, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.